Hi, everyone. Carol here. It's time for the weekly channel lesson. Last week, Spirit joined us and talked about calming the turbulent waters and what we needed to do after we asked, which involved listening. And calming those turbulent waters was a part of the listening. So this week, they are going to continue to talk about what it means to listen and how to clue in and get internal answers. So let's begin. Hello, it is we in spirit who step forward and are happy to be with you again this week to speak more about the value of listening. We hope that you took time last week to be able to learn how to still the muddy waters, how to calm the turbulent seas of your emotions, your thoughts, or perhaps even your physical body. We did not address that with you in terms of the fact that the body can oftentimes be in a state of unwellness, physical fatigue, disease, pain, illness. All of these different types of things can create a distracting body. In those moments, perhaps the best way to calm the muddy waters is to find those experiences in our hearts and minds that are uplifting and for a period of time will help us to detach from the pain of the body. And so we would like to move forward. If for those of you who have calmed the turbulent waters, we would like to continue to address what it means to listen. For it is important that we see not only what it is that happens outside of us, but also what happens inside of us. We need to develop a state of awareness for the things that are resolutions, not just problems. We are often aware, again, of the comparison or the example that we gave you last week for the body being hungry. This becomes a strong urge that you are unable to ignore. In the same way, the emotions and the thoughts that reach a high peak, that become very elevated, are extremely easy for you to identify with. As a result of that, their energies are very, very high. This is the reason we gave you the exercise for calming these particular energies. You cannot move into a state of solution if you are allowing these energies to continue to dominate. For many of you, sadly, we understand why this happens, but this energy takes on its own power. It becomes its own sun, so to speak. And the fires that within it continue to rage and continue to burn. The more we focus on them, the more we become aware of them, the larger and larger they become. And they create this self-perpetuated experience that we now find ourselves unable to escape. So calming the turbulent waters and finding those methods that work for you is extremely important. For we cannot listen, we cannot hear, we cannot receive the guidance that we have asked for if we do not step back into a space and allow things to recede, even if temporarily. So when it comes to listening, we want to speak to you about what it is that you're listening for. Again, many people become hung up on the fact that they feel that they are somehow going to hear something in terms of words. This can and often is the case, but it may be something very simple. You may hear a single word, a name, a song lyric may come to mind, a book title, a movie, something that just pops into your mind, moves into these calm waters. They're like leaves falling to the ground, soft and subtle. And as each one of them lands, you don't even notice them. You continue to move on about your day, irrelevant about all of the leaves that fall down onto the grass around you. These are the little insights that we are asking you to pay attention to. For when we take a look at these cumulatively, we will begin to notice that they pile up. And suddenly we have a pile of leaves that creates a picture for us that provides us with the insights that we need. So it is not just the moment that you hear a book title or a song lyric. It may be an emotion that is in your heart. You may feel sad or happy. You may have a memory of a time frame in life that was either pleasant or unpleasant for you. And we ask you to explore that. What is in that moment? What is it that you've heard or received? Also, what is it that your body is telling you? For your body is a very intelligent system. We tend to think of the brain as the only intelligent system that we possess, but we possess an intelligent heart and an intelligent body. These are the three intelligent systems that you need to begin to work with to make sure that you are calming the turbulent waters for all three, and then paying attention, even if you must do so one at a time, to those things that float in, to the leaves that scatter about each of those areas. the heart, the mind, and the body. Each one of these will provide you with small and subtle insights. This is where you must become a detective, so to speak. And in the beginning, your detective skills are usually far more relevant than they will be as time goes by. For eventually, you will learn to understand how these signs and patterns and symbols relate to you. You can think of it in terms of sign language. When you first see someone signing for the person who is deaf, you really don't understand what it is that you're seeing. Things come very slowly and you have to really pay attention. But over a period of time, the signing moves very quickly and you have learned a new language, a new way of speaking. So, in the process of listening, you are going to be developing a new set of language that will come in small blips of information, little leaves falling from the trees that when you put them together will have relevance for you. This is why one must take time to pay attention to the subtle signals and not to dismiss them. It is extremely easy to dismiss these small things, thinking that they mean nothing. For if we said to you in this moment now, pay attention to what happens tomorrow, would you pay attention to tomorrow? Would you remember that advice? Would you forget it? If we showed you an apple hanging on a tree and showed you that this tree is in full fruit and full bloom, would you ask yourself, how is that relevant to me and my scenario? Or would you simply notice it and then move on? This is what listening is about. Listening is not hearing, listening is paying attention. It has been referred to as mindfulness. And when you are constantly mindful of the external circumstances or the turbulent seas that are going on within you, you cannot hear the soft leaves that are falling on the grass carpet floor around you, for they are muffled by everything else which is louder. So this is the reason we give you the lesson of calming the tumultuous seas, of recognizing that the internal signals will be soft and subtle, and they will be cumulative in their effects. The only way we can refer to this for you is to give you the ability to understand that you need to begin to pay attention. You do not have to sit and study and concentrate. For the more intense that you become, the less the subtle experiences can move into you, because now you have moved into a state of intense energy. And so it is this sitting back, it is this allowing, it is this surrendering into the space, and also being capable of noticing that when something moves into your space, that perhaps it has meaning for you and it should not be tossed aside. We in spirit would like to tell you that it is easy to move into a constant dialogue with us, and it can be over a period of time. It must be developed not only in your skill, but in your capacity to be able to receive. We have spoken about this in divine timing. Things need to begin slowly to help you evolve, to understand this style of communication, to be willing to let go the questioning mind and the questioning heart, the vulnerability that it takes to be able to step into a space and receive a message such as the one that you're hearing right now takes a very special period of time for all of you to develop and to move into that and to be willing to accept and embrace that. Often, for those of you who hear and have experiences, what is the first thing that you do? You doubt yourself. You wonder where the experience comes from. All of these are questions that are quite common and should be asked, for they are what gives you discernment and awareness. But when we move into this state of questioning, when we move into perhaps a state of fear or reticence in terms of the messages that you are receiving, this blocks again the subtle signals from coming through. We need to address those questions. We need to address those fears that you have. We in spirit are not saying that you should not look at those things and evaluate them, but these are things that slow the falling leaves from creating the larger picture. These are things that in time, if you desire, you will be able to overcome. So we wish not to overwhelm you, but to just give you enough insight to understand the way, again, that this process begins to take place. We cannot make you pay attention. Your own mind, your own consciousness is constantly trying to connect with you and give you guidance. Your soul or your higher self, depending on how you like to consider that, has guidance for you. The fields of information, these are invisible fields that exist around you where all knowing is possible. It could be considered a divine source, but in all reality, it's a very passive source that each and every one of you have access to. If you need an answer, it is available. It is about you opening up into space and allowing that answer to come forward. It may not come from a loved one, it may not come from spirit guides or spiritual teachers, but then again, it might. The goal is simply to be open to receiving the information, and in time, you will be capable of understanding who and where it came from. Always, of course, focus on loving messages that lift you up. If you receive something that feels negative, remember it may have value for you. It should never be invasive, violate your personal space, or prevent you from having free will or feeling empowered. Yes, we can take you back to painful experiences because these may need to be evaluated before we can move into healing. Resistances to change, resistances to current circumstances are all inner aspects that must be dealt with. They can move us into painful spaces, but they are designed for positive outcomes. You will be capable of feeling the difference of this if you can step aside from the turbulence of the painful experience and ask the next question, which is, what does awareness of this experience bring for me in the future? So we hope that we have not confused you or overshared for today. We wanted to just highlight these very different basic aspects that come to the faculties of listening so that you will better be able to understand and embrace that you must be an active part in the process. It is not enough to ask. It is not enough to have that ability to be ready to for the divine timing. I'm so sorry. And so what you also need to do is to become a willing participant, to be a part of the process. So we hope that what we have shared with you today is beneficial in moving you forward into those steps. And we look forward, as always, for coming and joining you next week and providing more information that will help you to become better in tune with yourself and to move forward in the healing and growth and divine purpose that you are here for. So we thank you for listening and allowing us to be a part of your life again this week. So thanks, guys, again for listening to this week's channeled message. Again, I apologize for the stumbles. It's a process for me. And as I continue to drop better into space and to try to integrate all of these experiences, I will try to get a little more fluid. So thank you for joining. And as always, if you have any comments, I would love to hear them. And I look forward to connecting with you guys all next week. So take care. Bye-bye.